welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of Let's Get Cooking, our cooking game mechanics series. And today we're actually going to implement a lot of the setup we've done over the last 2 videos. I do apologise for them being long and them being a lot of setup. But as you'll see going forward, all this groundwork is going to pay off. It's going to save us a lot of work, a lot of hassle. We have everything ready. We can just go ahead and keep on moving forward. Yes, we will be adding more blueprints. Yes, we will be adding extra things, but we've done the main groundwork. We've done the long stuff. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to work on some UI elements. So let's go to our UI folder. We're going to make another new folder. I'm just going to call it artwork, only because I forgot to do it in the last video. And we're going to open up the artwork. Now, we're going to import a little bit of artwork. I intend to, for this series, any assets that I can share, I will put in my Google Drive and share the link. If I've got them from Fab, I will show you where I got them, what they're called, and that they're free. If I've got them from free for the month before, then, and you don't have them, unfortunately, then you will have to provide your own. We're going to go into a little bit of modeling later and show you how to model a simple table, just for a bit of fun. But I also have found that although they're not very good for their UVs and that, but for very quick models, there are some AI text or picture to 3D model sites. You might have to touch them up a bit. It depends on you, or you can just find your own. Okay. So the artwork I'm going to do today is because today we're going to work on message system. Is quite simple. So I'm going to import it. Import the current folder, and I'm going to go to my desktop. And I've got one here called folder called Bubble. Now, ignore a lot of these that's in here. These are when I was testing what would look best. So I will only give you that one, that one, and that one. I will only give you the ones that I've used in the project. So I'm going to open these up. Import 3 textures. Now you see they've got a black background and they're not saved. If we save them, I don't think it clears the background. They still stay black. So we need to make a few changes on these, on the import. So we're going to select them all, right click, go to Asset Actions, all the way down to Edit Selection in Property Matrix. And it opens up this window, and there you'll see the 3 here. And the reason they're black is because of compression settings. So we're going to set that to user interface because we're using it in the interface, and the texture group. Again, we're going to set to UI. You see now we've got stars here, meaning any saving, so we're going to save them. We can close the editor here. We can see now that they've got a clear background. Let's go ahead and close what we don't need here. I'm going to leave that one open because we're going to be using that later. And we're going to possibly be using this. Yes, we're going to be using this later, but we're not really using that. Okay, so why have I done it as 3 and not 1? Now this, you don't have to do this, so I'm going to put it outside the folder. Let me see if I've still got the original one to show you. So as we go along, I can show you. Is this one? Yes. So this is the same image, okay, and it's one image rather than three. And you do not have to. You will not get this one. You do not have to put this on. I'm just going to show you why I've split it into three. Okay. So first of all, we're going to now go in and we're going to make some user interface widgets. So go user interface, widget blueprint. We're going to choose standard user widget, and we're going to call it WD2, which I use for widget. W, whatever you prefer. And I'm going to call this main UI. Main HUD UI. Okay. I'm going to make one more. Again, widget blueprint, user widget, and I'm going to WDT underscore interaction message. Okay. So let's make sure I save those. Let's go to our HC Crazy Cooking, our HUD, and we're going to start straight away with this. We don't want these two, we can get rid of them. So on begin play, we're just simply going to say create widget. The widget class is going to be WDT because we named it strangely. We can get that many. Choose our main HUD. We're going to promote this to a variable and we're going to call this main HUD reference. Go. And we're simply going to add to viewport. Now, if we play it, nothing's going to happen because there's nothing in the widget. So let's get ahead and do something to that. Now, I put it on here because when we open the HUD class, this is going to put our main HUD overlay. This is everything that we use to display anything about the player. So in like a survival game, you would have things like your health bars, messages popping up, whatever. This is our main holder where we put everything into. So you'll see why we did some of the functions later. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our main widget. You get it to the content rule, or I can double click that. So here's our main HUD. I do apologize for traffic noise. As you see, it's completely empty, so let's give it something. The first thing we're going to put in it is a canvas panel. Because our main HUD, we're going to want to specifically place things in set areas, set anchor points, either central or so on and so forth, so that they're always in the right place on the screen. That canvas panel allows us to set where we put things. Okay. First thing we're going to add to this is an image. Get an image, drag it down, drop it on here. We're going to click on the image. I made it too small, didn't I? With it highlighted, we're going to go to anchors. You hold down your control and your shift key on your left hand side. Click the central one here, you see it pulsating. Boom. It puts it in the middle and it sets everything up. You don't have to reset anything. Okay, it's a bit of an odd size. And I'm just going to double check on what size I did it because I got it right in the last game. It looks quite good. Okay, so I made it quite small. So in our brush here, we can click down on that. We've got image size, make that 10 by 10, and size to content here. You see it shrinks it down to a little square. We don't want it a square, not really suitable. So we're going to draw as a rounded box. Gives us a nice little circle. Okay, we're going to leave it like that just for a second. And we're going to come back and choose what color we're going to want. In fact, we could do it here and then we can change the other part later. So in the tint, click on that and choose your color. And I chose this hex. I'm going to copy it basically. Look quite nice. Up to you what color you do it, okay? I chose this sort of orangey color. Okay, so now you should see, now I have it in here ready in my palette, okay? If you're using earlier versions, you can drag it up and put it in the top here. They've just changed it to be down here now. Okay, so this is it. This is the color it's going to be in its default state. So it looks big because I've got it zoomed in, but if we actually look at it, screen size is absolutely tiny. This is what we want. We don't want a great big blob stuck in our face when we're trying to work. If we play the game now, you see here is our little spot. Okay, Rich Circuit can run several versions of Unreal. Okay, so here's our little dot. You see it in the center of our screen. Okay. Okay, so that's nice. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, I'm just going to rename this to be a dot with dot. Make sure it is a variable. Okay, this is important for this. Okay. And we're going to make a little function, I believe. Let me just double check my project. Yes. So we're going to go to our graph, go to our functions. We're going to add a new function. I'm going to say set dot color and visibility. I think that's how you spell it. Okay, so in here we've got two inputs. So we click on our node. We'll go down to inputs here. The first one is as item in hand. It's a Boolean, so that's fine. And we're going to add one more. And we can call it activated. Again, Boolean. Okay, we're going to drag down our dot. Drag off of here, and we're going to say set visibility. What are we going to set it to? Oh, we're going to use a select node. And we're going to drag off this as item in hand. It should give us our true and false. If we have an item in our hand, true, we want to set it to hidden. False, we want it to be visible. Okay. And the reason we're going to do this is because we don't want this message or a message popping up on the screen or the dot being stuck in the middle of your face. In this case, when we've got something in our hand, it's just going to distract us and it doesn't. So next thing we're going to do is get our dot again, and we're going to say set glass. I'm going to look for tint color. What does this require? This requires an input of our slate color. So what we're going to set it to, again, we're going to use a select node. Right click here, and we're going to say get our activated right at the bottom. Plug that in. Requires a slate color, and remember we made that little function convert. Now, blueprint function library, probably at the top here. Convert linear. Here we go. We made this, so we're going to get two of those. Okay. Now, if it's false, we're going to use our default color, whatever you decide to set that up. And if it's true, we're going to use green because we're not. So basically, what's going to happen is when we look at something, our dot's going to change us from orange to green, in my case, or whatever your color, you have it white, whatever your base color is. So we know that we've got it. It will also display a message. You don't need to change the dot color if you don't want to. That's up to you. Okay, compile. And we don't actually use it in here. We call it externally. Okay. So that's all we need to do in here for the moment. Make sure you compile and save it, but we're going to leave it open because we're going to add to it later. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is the interaction widget, interaction message widget. Okay, so this one is a little bit different. We're not going to put a canvas panel. We're going to want it as desired on screen. Okay, and this is where I'm just going to show you why we've imported 3 parts and not just one. Okay, so if I just made a border, oh, wrong box, prompt it on here, go to our content drawer, use the big one, and that brush, and quite small, okay, and then add a text box to that. Okay, we'd have to then work out the padding to make the text. Right, so first let's take the padding off the border to 0. And we're going to add some padding to the text. So let's say 5 all around. Let's reduce the size of the font. Give you an idea. Something like 18. Okay, so first of all, you see that we're having trouble lining this up. Okay, so if I say, well, okay, just stick some padding to the left, it's easy. So, okay, so let's stick some padding to the left. Let's stick 30 padding to the left, so we've got a little bit of a gap. And let's stick 10 padding to the right, so it's even. Okay, and it looks okay, yeah? But we've got 2 words. So let's just say, if we wrote in something long, press E to pick up item, it all goes peach on again, yeah? And also you notice that this has got very stretched. So this is why I don't do it as a whole, and I make it into 3 parts. You don't have to do this. This was just for me giving you a demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Just to stop confusion, I'm going to delete that as well. Okay, make sure I save everything. Okay, so we're back to our blank screen. So the way I prefer to do it is, first thing I want to add is a horizontal box. Horizontal box does exactly what it says on the tin. It allows us to display things horizontal. At the moment, nothing in it. Okay. Now I'm going to add a size box. And to the size box, so make sure you highlight the size box, I'm going to add a border. And you see now we're getting a little bit bigger. Yeah. I'm then going to add another border to the horizontal box. Make sure you look on the horizontal box. And inside that border, I'm going to add a text block, which you won't see at the moment because of the color. Now you see this has gone huge, yeah? And I'm going to copy this size box, copy, click on the horizontal, and paste it again. So you see we've got three parts. One size box with a border, one border with some text, and another size box. Okay, so let's go ahead and formulate it. But before that, let's change the colors. Okay. Oh, one, text. Let's just change the color of the text so we can see it. Okay. In the default Unreal, we don't get much choice of text or font. Yeah. A little bit boring. So what I'm going to show you is how simple it is to add your own font to your game. Because I want something a little bit comic about this game. Just the mood that I was in when I developed the series. I decided to choose like a comic style font. But choose whatever font you like. There are plenty of good free resources out there to type in fonts. The only thing you've got to make sure is it's a true type font, so that when you download it, it will often come in a zip file. The one I've chosen is quite simple. Sometimes it comes down into a lot of different layers. And I will, as I import this, I will explain what to do if we have more than one font, because a lot of them will have like an italic, a bold italic, regular, so on and so forth. Okay, so I will show you how to do that. In fact, I may even have a look to see if I've got a font available that does have more than one. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go in, quickly make a new folder, call it fonts, open that up, and I'm going to import the current folder, and I know this font is here. You can see it's only got one font in it. Now if you go to your window and search for font, your font control panel, let's go for the legacy one because it's easier for us to see for this demonstration. Here's all your fonts you have on your computer. You can, I believe, copy and paste these, but you can copy it. You could copy them. Actually, you can drag and drop these into it. But for now, you see a lot of these they're already there. But you see they've got Wingdings 3, Wingdings 2. But as you know, when you use your normal Word or whatever you use, you will see that there are more than one of the same font. Okay, you see here, look, and gets the new 4 font faces. Okay, I live in Thailand, that's why it's Thai language. Bunny's Bambo, 1 typeface. Calibri, 6 font faces. So if I try to install one of these, I don't know whether I can actually drag and drop it. No, probably not. Cambria, 4 font faces. It will give you 4 types of fonts inside of our Unreal. And you'll get a message popping up. So what you should do is choose the one that says regular and install that first, and then choose if you want the others to install after. So I'm literally going to say OK because this is the one I want. And it's going to say, would you like to create a new font asset using the imported font faces to font fault? I'm going to say yes because we need it, because it won't work. Now, if you are importing one that has multiple, you only do it on the first one. So like your regular, the default font. Say yes. Okay. And you see we end up making 2 things. Yeah. We've got our font face and our font itself. Now, if we open up the font face, this is what we get. Okay, this is the font. It shows you what it looks like. Yeah. If we open up the font, we have all of these. It says, okay, default, which is this one, which will always be the first one to show in the list. So the first one is called default. If you had one that had, say, then italic, you would add them on here, type italic, choose the italic version, so on and so forth. And that's why when you put down in your list in here, in UI, let's save these 2 things a minute. Like in Roberto, you've got regular, bold, italic. That's how you get this list. Okay, so there's more than one. How you get this list. I'm going to go to our new Yikes font. Here it is. It just to make things look a bit nice. Let's put in a long. Let's leave it for now. Okay, so let's back to here. We're going to click on our first size box here, and we are going to make some settings. Now these are settings that I've done for myself. It's what I've decided works well. So we're going to click on width and height override. And the first one is 42. And 56. Okay, so that gives us our size here. Make sure it's set on auto. And in fact, I'm going to now go ahead and make sure I click on the border. Go to our UI artworks folder, and we're going to choose the left for this. And there should be no padding. Okay, so we'll turn it off first. No padding. And we're going to click on that. So now we see this is at the correct shape. It looks a bit odd here because we don't have that set. So let's go ahead and set the border for this one. And that's going to be our mid one. Then 0 padding. And you see now these are lined up. Our text is not quite right yet, but we'll go ahead. Let's do our last one. Again, 0 padding. And our image here. Now, because I haven't set the size box, it's not doing anything. But if we just say, for instance, just a random number, we'll see we've got something. Okay. The correct numbers I chose for this one because it kept everything nice was 13. Oh, 13. And the same height we did for the other one. is 56. Okay. And okay. Again, auto. So now let's sort our text out here. Okay. For text, I'm going to keep it at 24. It seems to work well for my game. And the thing that you want to do is make sure these are checked. You see it now brings it in the middle. And I have given it a little bit of padding just to make it. So left I go 5, top I go 5, right I didn't give any, bottom I get 5. Okay. I mean, I can give the right some if you want. I see why I left that one out. So it just sort of centralizes it. Now you see, if I go ahead and type in something long, like press E to pick up the watermelon, press enter, these stay perfectly where they are. This doesn't stretch, but this one stretches but makes it bigger, and we keep all of our spacings the same. So this makes it a lot nicer to use without everything being distorted. Element. So we can pass over, we can leave the text in there, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's go to our event graph. But before we do that, we want to make sure we're going to call this, give this a name. And this text box, we're going to call it message box. And we are 100% make sure we click it's a variable. This is the text field. Everything else doesn't need to be a variable. Compile it, go to our graph. On construct, so we can get rid of this one and this one. We drag in our message box and say set text. What are we going to set it to? We're going to promote this to a variable and call it message. And we are going to make sure that this message is instant editable down here at the bottom here and exposed on spawn. Compile. Okay. I think there's one thing I've just got to double check in the designer on here. No, it's in the designer later on. Okay, so we're done with this. We can close that. Okay. It'll handle itself when we call it. Let's go back to our main widget, to our designer. We want somewhere to add this interaction widget. So we're going to add a border. Onto our canvas panel. Okay. We're going to anchor the border in the middle of the screen. Which is basically what we did before, just to start us off. So we've got a bank here, it's covering up our little dot here, I know. Be patient. Okay, so we're going to first of all do size to content, but I'm not going to click that yet, it's going to disappear on us. Okay. The alignment here is going to be slightly different. We're going to take that to just 0. You see it's moved it over to the left. How do we know we're going to get it in the right position? Well, we can add in a widget just to check. But before we do that, we're going to go to where it says draw as, none. We don't want to see it. It doesn't have to be there. It's only a place that we're going to put things in. We're going to rename it. I'm going to call it interaction border. And we've got to make sure this is a variable. Okay. So let's work out where we want it. So we're going to put in we're going to type an interaction widget message. We're going to drop one of them on the border. You see it's all gone a bit weird. This is where we click on Guides to Content. Okay. Now it fits. But we see it's a little bit high. We don't really want it there. So we can drag it down to where we feel we want it. And I sort of had it come just below the dot thing. It looks like the dot is talking to us. Okay. And position. My might be 16, and this is 0. Okay. We've got it there. You can leave it there because then that gives you a reference there because it will be cleared before we do anything. Also, just go ahead and clear any padding out to stop any weirdness. Now, the reason we set this to 0, if I left it at 0.5, you see what happens is the message moves across. We don't want the message in the middle. We want it to start there. So the 0 means it's this edge on the X. Okay. If I wanted it to, if I wanted to have it on that dot there and take away the position Y, but that will bring it just a little bit lower than what I wanted. Then up to you, 0, 0, so you see it drops it down, but I could clear that off and it would start there. I preferred it 0.5 with a 16 offset. Again, everything is down to your own preference and your design, but these are starting values for you. Excuse me one moment. Okay, I'm back. To check the time here, I want to keep this one a little bit shorter. We've made our two UIs. We've displayed the dot, but the interaction message at the moment doesn't appear or do anything. If we play the game now, because we've got this on a screen, it's going to stay on screen. Something like that, because we've got nothing for it to read. It's going to be like that. Bear with me. I'm going to record the next part, which is part 4 of this series straight away, so you won't have to wait long. I just want to try and keep it a little bit shorter. If you like my comment, as always, like, subscribe, recommend to your friends, check out my links, buy me a coffee, join my Patreon, or come and chat on Discord. Any comments are appreciated. See you next time. Bye.